Pressure rising with the spark. One wrong move and you fall apart. So brace yourself, don't blink. As we go down in flames. One lap, one shot, one chance to take it all. No fear.
Welcome in live to the virtual Talladega Superspeedway. It's the Jimmy Crow Senior 250, and I am Michael Triscaro, your host tonight with Dawson Wise of PGR eSports, and we are set to go green flag racing here. A little bit late on our end here, so won't have time for the starting grid tonight, but I am bringing in Dawson Wise here for the start of tonight's race.
Yeah, ready to go for 94 laps from Talladega Superspeedway. 22 of the best in sim racing for some great payouts in a fun truck series package. I saw the heat race earlier that set the grid. You're going to want to buckle up. Here we go. Green flag is in the air in the Jimmy Crow Senior 250 from Talladega.
Well, back here live, lap number one, gonna go to a yellow flag. We'll bring up that scoring tower you see as the first caution flag of the night is out, as Logan Helton leads Stephen Miles and Daniel Falkingham, your current top three. But Dawson, some action there coming out of turn number 4. I believe James Waring, Mark Vondell, Nathan Harper, and a couple others involved.
Yeah, this one's tough because I think what Daniel Falkingham was doing, if you noticed off the start of the race, Daniel Eberhardt started on the outside of the front row and immediately bailed to the tail end of the field. Long race tonight, 94 laps, 250 miles, and he bailed to the back. And I want to say that's what Daniel Falkingham was going to do as well. But in the shakeup from that, J.R. Miller and Gordon Spain have to kind of either commit to Daniel Falkingham, follow him up the racetrack, or go to the middle. In a moment of hesitation, maybe some confusion or a miscommunication, whether Daniel Falkingham just didn't come over the radio and say it. Miller kind of halfway commits to it. Gordon Spain gets in the back of him, and it's on from there. Luckily, I think we avoided a lot of big damage for guys towards the front. Waring gets a piece, Vondell gets a piece, but again, I think this could have been a lot worse than it was, considering it was right at the front of the field, right on the first 2 rows.
Yeah, and we're watching it right here on the replay. There's the 38 getting up into the 78. So J.R. Miller is going to go around off the front bumper of Gordon Spain. James Waring, an innocent bystander here on the bottom lane. There goes the 59 of Mark Vondell as the 14 car, or the 14 truck, was trying to slow down, and see Waring there heavy on the brakes. Doesn't look too bad for any of these trucks. I think everyone, for the most part, is going to get off a little bit more unscathed. So luckily there, we'll go back and watch this one more time. And back it up a little bit more here. As you see these drivers coming off turn number 4 here. Lap number 1 of the race. And Gordon Spain right there in the 38, going to turn the 78 of J.R. Miller.
Yeah, again, just a tough break. But again, it's an early race thing, and a lot of these guys, it's long race season, I guess, if you want to put it that way. A lot of these guys, though, still kind of trying to get back in the swing of running 250 miles or more, because again, on an average Thursday night, race or a Wednesday night race, you'll run 40 or 50 laps, and you won't see guys like Daniel Falkingham go to the back. That was, even for me, a little out of character. I'm not sure if maybe what he saw in the heat race he didn't like. He and Daniel Eberhardt raced it out for the end of the heat race. I don't know if they just didn't like what they saw at the beginning of this race, or I'm not sure what it was, but that's out of character for even both of them. But the race distance causing them to go to the back, and obviously it turns out poorly there for Vondell, Miller, and Waring. But again, we kind of got a little bit lucky. Didn't look to be fatal damage on any of those 3 trucks. They are all still on pit road. William H. Scott Jr. is down there as well. But again, we got away without some fatal damage there. Lucky that the guys behind them did a pretty good job of ducking out of the way and getting that early one out of the way and under our belt here. Long way to go, still 90 laps to go.
Yeah, a long race here tonight for the Jimmy Crowe Sr. 250. You'll see periodically a photo of Jimmy Crowe Sr. in the right-hand corner of your screen in tonight's race. And we want a special shout out to him. We're also going to bring a couple of his old friends here into the booth at some point tonight. I know Gabe Butler being one of those drivers. Talked to Jimmy Crowe a little bit earlier. I believe Logan Helton as well. So a special night here for Jimmy Crowe, and so, honoring his father, Jimmy Crowe Sr. So hopefully, we know Jimmy doesn't like those cautions, Dawson. So hopefully these boys can kind of get some green flag racing in here. I know Jimmy doesn't like to see that, especially on lap number 1.
Well, I'll tell you what, in the heat race a little bit ago, there was a 9-lap heat race that actually set the grid for this race. These guys were going crazy, throwing haymakers at each other, and it looked like maybe we were going to avoid that early. Obviously, a bit of a miscue there up front, but looked like they had toned it down, so we'll see if they kind of draw it back a little bit and try for some long runs here and really get into this race. If this race gets to a pit stop, which we've seen a little bit of the last couple weeks, it will likely enter a long green flag run. You'll see strategy kind of determine who wins this race. There's a good group of drivers in here as well, so they get a couple jitters out early. Now we can kind of refocus and get a green flag run under the belts of these guys. You talk about guys like Butler and Helton, veterans of the super speedway scene, also veterans of long races. These guys are primarily over in the league scene. They run these long races all the time. So if the strategy favors anybody, those two certainly go to the top of my list. And also you start to talk about the guys that have won the long races in the money racing scene as well. Daniel Falkingham's in the field tonight. Malik Ray is in the field tonight, coming off a 500-mile win the other night for the one of Malik Ray. So you talk about guys that have run long races before, certainly at an advantage tonight, knowing that pit stops will come into play. At least a couple, I would say, probably 2 if it goes all the way out. 100% fuel is interesting. That's something these guys I don't think are used to. We're going to probably go a good 30 to 35 laps on this opening run. Compared to, say, a Thursday night race, we're going to go about 15 to 18. Tonight we're going about double that. So some guys a little bit less accustomed to the fuel in the truck tonight, so we'll see how that plays into it as well.
And we didn't get a chance to do this here at the beginning. We'll quickly bring up that race flyer, and we'll try to show you as well the starting grid if we get another early caution. But there it is, the Jimmy Crow Senior 250, 94 laps tonight, and as Dawson alluded to, 100% fuel. If we need them tonight, it'll be 3 green, white checkers to finish off tonight's race. No fast repair, so that's the big one here tonight as we go back live for the restart at Talladega.
It's Michael Barksdale that's going to draw the field into the restart zone. Everybody came down pit road except for truck number 00, the all-white Chevy on the front row. So he will lead the field back into the restart zone, and he will put us back under the green flag. Let's try this again. Lap 4 off the board, 5 on the board. Great start for Barksdale there. Helton, Butler, Steve Sizemore are the 3 trucks lined up up top. Barksdale got a little too good of a jump. Falkingham not yet got his help. That's Vicente Guerrero, another Super Speedway vet, on the bottom behind him. Barksdale's a sitting duck. They're coming to him here off of 2. Falkingham will have to push. Helton, though's got the better push on the outside. They are connected. It's Logan Helton looking to go to the lead halfway down the Alabama gang super stretch. 1 car out of line further back. That was the 11 of William H. Scott Jr. For the most part, everybody keeping it calm. Making it 3, it's Helton with the lead.
Yeah, Logan Helton with the lead. Michael Barksdale now up the second. You see Gabe Butler there in third. Daniel Falkingham looks to defend his PGR 500 championship here in just 3 weeks' time, February 2nd through the 8th. And that's going to be the biggest super speedway race you will see this calendar year. And Daniel Falkingham, he's already locked into that feature race for the PGR 500. So he has a really good shot at doing it. We saw Malik Ray, who's also in this field tonight. You see him right here in the number 1 truck as Malik Ray went back-to-back in the SummerSlam 499. So Dawson, we know it can be done. And if Daniel Falkingham is able to go back-to-back, I'll tell you what, that's going to be another big payday for him, and possibly his biggest single race payday to this date, with $3,000 guaranteed.
You feel like he's the odds-on favorite going into that race, as Sizemore's going to split to the middle of Gabe Butler. Butler going to stay up against the safer barrier. No help in the middle yet for Sizemore. He's got some coming to him here in the form of the 74 there in the center of the racetrack. Not much momentum there in the middle, though. Malik Ray's going to join that line, but Butler's holding tough on the top side. He's got help from out back from Matt Metler, a broadcaster a lot of the time, at least in terms of my interactions with him. Also a member of a couple of different groups that I get to broadcast for. So good to see Matt out here. And Matt's up here duking it out with these guys' top 6. 3 tandems. Top is Metler and Butler. Middle is Sizemore, but I believe Larry McDonald is that red and white truck in the middle. Bottom side was Helton and Barksdale. Give the advantage to Butler halfway down the back straightaway as he'll go back to the lead, and we'll calm it back down to 2 wide for the moment. Going back to Falkingham, you got to think he's the odds-on favorite going into this race. You wondered how the guys that were successful in last year's event would pick up the new version of the next-gen car, if you will. The Aero gets some changes. You have to race a little bit differently. And Daniel Falkingham's not missed a beat. He continues to run up front. He continues to lead a ton of laps and win races. So I think he's probably the odds-on favorite. I think Malik Ray is in that mix as well. But a ton of really talented drivers have circled that date for months. So definitely looking forward to that one. Everybody who's anybody in this community is coming out to that one. It will be a heavyweight bout all week to see who gets the $3,000 payout. Even some guys that maybe have not run in a while or at all are going to put their names in the ring for that one. A lot of guys have that date circled. A lot of guys going to come out and see that big number, the prestige that goes with it, and they want a part of it. Meanwhile, up front in this race, 5-truck breakaway for the moment, but Logan Helton stepped out of line. That's going to kind of break up this party at the front and bring the pack back to these guys up front. Really weird, a bit spread out here, a bit more spread out than I had anticipated. Guys migrating to the double yellow line, trying to log laps on lap 8. This is a bit different, but not for long. Here comes Josh McCullough up the outside with James Waring, Matt Patton, and another truck in tow.
Yeah, Josh McCullough, another driver to keep an eye on here tonight. I know his father, Kenny McCullough, a great start to the PGR Intimidator Super Speedway Series last Thursday night, and we heard from Kenny, and he was just saying, no, I want to be a lot more aggressive this year, and I don't believe we see him here in the lineup tonight, but his son Josh definitely capable of following in his father's footsteps and trying to get the victory lane here tonight. We've seen Josh do it across all the platforms here on Money Racing, including the Sunday Fun Day series. So we know it's not just the super speedways this number 6 truck from McCullough Motorsports can run. He is pretty good just about in anything at the moment. Gabe Butler still leads. He leads that outside lane here. And Matt Metler now. We talked about Matt Metler just a little bit. We've seen him out here in high gear racing, mainly on these Tuesday nights. And tell you what, he's really held his own. And Austin, you might as well put yourself in that list with Austin Green as well. You broadcasters, you guys have a knack for being up front here, that's for sure. I don't know what it is, but you're just as good at racing as you guys are broadcasting. That's a definite compliment right there.
We're glad to see Matt up front, obviously carrying the banner for those of us that are usually on. You know, I'm not sure what it is, honestly. I feel like all three of us have had some pretty good moments this year. You talk about Metler obviously leading here and has been a part of the HGR races on Tuesday nights, holds his own very well there as well. You talk about, oh man, contact wearing into the side of Helton. He's going to make the save for now. Comes off of Matt Patton, but big save there for Waring. He's going to go backwards. Big save up front. This time it's Metler out of shape in the 311 up front. But he makes the save and calms it back down to 2 wide. Going back to your point, though, we want to talk about Austin in the year he's had. Obviously started the PGR 500 back in February after racing his way in, and got a chance to race his way into that event and finish inside the top 6, if I remember correctly, in that event. So Austin certainly had a good year as well, ran well in the light series as well. You know, talking about his success in the light series, my success in the light series. So good to see all three of us have a pretty good year this year, at least, you know, for the group that you were talking about. And, you know, I'll tell you what, Mike, we have singled it out here. Everyone in the field has gone to the double yellow line with the exception of a couple trucks out back. James Waring is one of them. The other one was William H. Scott Jr. Towards the tail end, everybody else is not only along the double yellow line, there is big gaps along these trucks. They're not right all up on top of each other. That tells me some guys want to save fuel. I'll tell you one guy that doesn't is Gordon Spain. He's going to jump around the outside of Larry McDonald. Nobody going with him as of now. What this tells me is some guys are saving some gas here. Not sure what the strategy call is. I figured about a 35-lap run. Perhaps you can make it longer than that with the early caution. Perhaps some guys trying to strategize this into a one-stop race, but everyone in the field now, except for Gordon Spain, down along that double yellow. As the field works back into turn 3. Spain, this is really tight side traffic for lap 12. As he's giving Larry McDonald the business here in turn 3. Still no one going with him. He's all by his lonesome, but he's holding up because the bottom lane isn't really pushing that hard. Now Sizemore says, I see the success. I'm going to go with it here.
And it's interesting out of Gordon Spain. They're obviously involved in the first incident of tonight's race, so he's definitely got to be careful here side draft, and he's the only one there on the outside, still on the outside here of Larry McDonald. And it's going to be, like you said, probably a very long green flag here. We got that early caution on lap number 1 tonight. No fast repairs. So the last thing any of these drivers want to do is be caught up in a wreck tonight. We have one below the apron there, just coming back into the racing surface, farther down or back in the pack here. But we'll probably see these drivers calm down a little bit and kind of ride for a while. And, you know, like you said, 100% fuel here tonight. So that'll definitely be a little bit different. Obviously, a lot of their money races a little bit shorter than the 94 laps that we're going tonight. And a lot of those races come with a smaller fuel cell, sometimes 50%, sometimes 60. And these drivers would often have to make a lot more stops. But with that 100% fuel here tonight, they're going to be on the track for some long runs, and we'll see once we hopefully get to that first green flag stop how much that really spreads this field around tonight.
Well, it kind of felt like in some of the long races that we've seen, oh man, almost some tunnel vision up front there for Gordon Spain. It felt like we were going to kind of get into a lull period where these guys just ran along the double yellow line, logged laps, got to that first pit stop, and then maybe started to put themselves in position. But a few of the trucks up front, namely Gordon Spain, have kind of forced the field to continue to race, and he continues to get guys that want to test the waters. Sizemore was the first. He's up to second. Logan Helton eventually jumped up. Barksdale, Patton, Metler, now Malik Ray, Daniel Falkingham have come back to the party. Oh, trouble out back. It's Metler. Metler slides through the grass trying to save it. He's going to come back up. I don't think the caution's going to come out. Metler has stopped the trial of trying to get that thing back going. It's a decent save, per se, in the fact that he didn't get any other trucks over the wall. But Metler is certainly way off the pace now. We'll need to caution a bit to get back into this one at some point in the night.
Yeah, we're watching the replay here. The 311 truck for Matt Metler is going to go through the infield grass, back onto the racing surface as he woes that Toyota truck down. Comes to a stop there for a brief second, and he is back off and running. As you see the burnout marks there through the tri-oval, but Metler well off the pace now, 20th position, as we had 21 trucks take the field or take the green flag tonight. So he is only one spot better than Mark Fondell at this point. So Matt Metler down 14 positions from the start of this race, and he was up there leading not too long ago. He's going to need a lot of help here tonight.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part with these long races, especially the ones, you know, like this where guys aren't wanting to race 3 and 4 wide like we'll see on a normal Thursday night. These guys are keeping it relatively calm and civil so far, besides a few moments early in the race. So, yeah, that's the unfortunate part for Metler. These guys just aren't racing hard enough to foster any crashes at the moment. Now later in the race that will change, so stay in there and stay, you know, maybe 1 lap down, maybe 2 on the back end of things. So back at some point tonight, he'll still be in contention, and for sure late, especially after the racing we saw earlier in the heat race. There will likely be a caution late in the going of this one, but for now, it's a very lonesome feeling driving around Talladega by yourself. He's actually going to pick up Fondell here. Fondell is right around where he is on track, so Metler is actually going to pick up some help for those two to kind of mitigate the damage for the time being and keep the pace up just a little bit more than if they were both by themselves. Everybody else is in the field, and it is 19 trucks deep. You mentioned 21 started the race. Ray Masowitz was supposed to be on the grid tonight. He is having some connection problems earlier, I believe. He has bowed out and not started tonight's race. Will be credited with 22nd. So 21 on track. Everybody's still on the lead lap. But again, the breakaway in front of the field, the 2-wide racing from about 7th on back, caused his front group to drive away. Now that the second group has figured it out, they've gotten in line, they're going to drive right back up. That group is led by Vicente Guerrero, but the breakaway was caused by that 2-wide racing on the back of the leaders. So interesting dynamic for later in the race if it becomes a factor where there are 2 separate packs. It'll be very interesting to see how that dynamic works out. Guys decide to start racing 2 wide. For now, though, everybody is back to 1 group. Still along the double yellow line to be away for first pit stop. Likely, I would say, in the range of lap 35 to 40. So a ways to go until that. You can't look at these gaps. Huge gaps. The only person pushing really that hard in the field is Malik Ray. He's the lead pusher. Everybody else leaving a quarter, a half, a full truck length in front of them, so as to not only avoid an incident, but perhaps save some fuel as well.
We're going to go through the field here, and 21st position right now, that's going to be Mark Fondell as he just crosses the stripe there. Mark Fondell, though, way behind right now. I'm looking at a big gap for Mark Fondell. Matt Metler, we saw him take that ride through the infield. He is back in 20th at the moment. So those two are going to be looking for a yellow flag at some point this race. Dylan Jones off the pace with his teammate Daniel Everhart. Those two drivers right now, 18th and 19th, are swapping actually on the racetrack. Man, they almost actually come together there. And so Dylan Jones 18th, Daniel Eberhardt in 19th off the pace. Larry McDonald, he's going to be the caboose of this main pack at the moment. It's 17 trucks here all the way back to Larry McDonald. In front of him, James Waring. In 15th, it's going to be J.R. Miller for Team PGR. Joey Allen tonight is currently riding in the 14th position. William H. Scott Jr., he is in, well, he just swapped spots with Joey Allen. He's going back farther a little bit, but Daniel Falkingham, we talked about him already tonight, up to the 12th position. Nathan Harper in 11th. Stephen Miles up to 10th, and we saw Stephen Miles win PGR recruitment race last night. Michael Barksdale, he's in the top 10 currently in 9th. Josh McCullough sits in the 8th position. Vicente Guerrero in 7th. Gabe Butler in 6th. Right now, Steve Sizemore in the 08 is up to 5th. Gordon Spain for Spain's Tire Center up to the 4th position. Logan Helton, you see him riding right there in the blue and white. He is up to 3rd. Malik Ray now up to 2nd. And, well, the Cinderella story of the past in the PGR eSports March Madness. Matthew Patton didn't win it, but, man, he's knocked on the door actually almost a couple times. This seems to come alive in the month of March each and every year. We'll have another, I believe, the 3rd annual March Madness coming up, as actually Matt Patton now going to go up the racetrack, and he's going to let most of these leaders go on by down the backstretch here, as Malik Ray now assumes the lead as the drivers head into turn number 3, as we are 21 laps in tonight of 94.
Yeah, really interesting. Patton is big Malik Ray. He's disappeared. He's not yet come back. He will reappear right in front of the field. Good job by looking get off the gas, same for Gordon Spain, and allow Malik Ray to repopulate, if you will, and come back onto the racetrack without an incident or any kind of net code that we usually see when that happens. It's good on Logan Helton there, but looked like Matt Patton's going to go to the back and save some fuel, and Steve Sizemore, Kate Butler, Michael Barksdale, they're not going to allow him. He's going to go right back to the lead, is that Rush Truck Center Chevy. So if he wanted to save gas, unfortunately, he's not able to yet. But interesting, you mentioned the Cinderella story. Again, the season that we're in, already had a couple of 500 milers. Of course, the big main one is coming up. Big block here by Pat. He's going to jump up on the nose of Gabe Butler and Michael Barksdale. Again, I'm not really sure if Patton's trying to go back there and save fuel. Nobody wants to let him do it, if that's what he's attempting to do here in turn 3. Sizemore going to go to the lead 4 now. Field works back to 2 wide. But again, interesting you mentioned some of the Cinderella stories, because those are going to happen again. One of the dark horses to win the PGR 500 in a couple weeks, and some of them are in this field. You know, Patton may be on that list. I think J.R. Miller is on that list. I would put Vicente Guerrero on that list as well, the 14th veteran of the super speedway scene. I'm not sure Butler and Helton could be considered dark horses, but maybe in the money racing scene, maybe they're a dark horse category type driver, or a between category type driver to win that race as well. A lot of guys in this field could be dark horses to win that race, and now is such a great time to establish some momentum, and that's exactly what Matt Patton's doing right now. Leading laps, looking good going into that race. You want to have all the momentum and confidence that you can going into that event. Remember the run that Daniel Falkingham went on last year across all promotions. Going into that week, Daniel Falkingham had been on a bit of a heater as it was. Won the PGR Championship, went right into the 500 on a heater, and won that race too. It's important to be on the right foot going into that week of racing. I think you're seeing a few guys kind of setting themselves up for success tonight. Matt Patton being the chief among them. Logan Helton's run well tonight. Butler, of course, expect those two to show up always. Gordon Spain, I think, is putting himself back on the map. Spain is a starter in the Crown Jewel races for PGR as well. He knows what it takes to get there. He's in the field tonight as well. I think you can put him on that dark horse list.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting this year, obviously, it's going to be a lot bigger event. At least I'm hoping for that. We have the, 12 heats, also the pole shootout race. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on this year, as far as who's going to sit on the pole and get the automatic transfer into the PGR 500 feature. And that's going to happen on Friday night this year. So that's Friday night, January 6th. And essentially the top 2 finishers in each heat will race for the pole position and the outside pole position front row. So, and those 2 drivers will lock themselves in to the PGR 500 feature. So I'll tell you what, as much as I'm looking forward to that Sunday in that feature race in the 500 miles, something tells me that the most exciting race of the week is going to be that pole shootout race.
Tell you what, it's kind of like the dash races that you see in dirt racing sometimes. You'll see the top 8 or 10 qualifiers go out there and race for the pole position in the feature later on at night, or race for their heat assignments or what have you after qualifying. So kind of that same vein, but it almost means a little bit more, because again, it guarantees you that spot in Sunday afternoon's race where you can take Saturday off. That's so important. So we see Helton Spain going back to the front. I think Ray thought about it, but opts to stay down on the bottom. We saw Gabe Butler, by the way, dive out of line earlier. He's going backwards to save gas as well. There are a few guys here that are kind of gaming the fuel tank just a little bit. I'm going to save some gas here at the front of the field. It gave Larry McDonald a chance to lead for the moment. Logan Helton going to take it here in turn 2 for the time being. Again, Gordon Spain is the busher there. With it all set, everyone's going to get back in line. J.R. Miller, that was tight with James Waring, about 6 rows deep in the field. They make it work, though. McDonald back to lead on the bottom of the push from Matt Patton, who again finally gets a chance to save gas. He's a little bit of a happier camper, I think, than he was just a few laps ago. But no, back to that pole shootout race. That's going to be a lot of fun. All the stakes on the line. Again, you kind of get to kick your feet up and not really do much work on Saturday, not do any work on Saturday, and get to start Sunday at the front and set the tone. So interesting to see who gets that race win. Again, kind of a first of its kind thing, if you will, in some racing community. That's going to be a lot of fun to be a part of as well. Matt Patton, I said he was saving gas. Every time I say he's saving gas, he goes back to the front of the field. Maybe I should quit saying it. Matt Patton goes for the lead here on the push from Malik Ray. First time we've seen Malik this close to the front of the field. He's been mid-pack, biding his time, a little bit less aggressive than we're used to seeing it now. Trey Heat is the one. Player orange and white aboard that Chevrolet. Logan Hilton back to third. Again, they'll start to break away because of the two wide racing behind them. This dynamic that continues to be a factor early in this race. The top 4 or 5 trucks that are single file get to break away just a little bit. And later in the race, if they're not careful, could let a few trucks break away, potentially win this thing and be uncontested. For now, though, everybody is together. It's because Malik Ray's not pushing, and Logan Hilton says, I want the lead back. I'm going to jump up. He's going to go to a familiar dance partner so far in this one. Hilton has pushed him a lot early in the going. They're going to get to the lead. Look at how far off Malik Ray bounces back off Matt Patton, 1-1.
Into one we go. Logan Helton's going to surge here on that high lane. 2x2 here as we come off turn number 2. We got one now up into that third lane. I believe Gordon Spain, the lonesome truck up there, will have to try to find his way back in. If not, parachute all the way to the tail end of this lead pack. And right now, these drivers still racing a little bit more, not so much single file as we saw there in the earlier part of the stint, but you know, they got to be eventually thinking about green flag stops. We're a little bit a ways from it, but that probably, in my opinion, will definitely turn this race upside down just a bit. It seems to me like every time you get to those stops, you always drop a few more drivers off that lead pack, and with the situation here tonight, smaller field than anticipated, and already some heavy hitters off the pace, including Dylan Jones and Daniel Everhart. You never know, this thing could go green till the end. And so some of those guys chasing a caution flag tonight might be kind of hard if we get to that green flag stop. And I would assume it'd be a couple stop race if we stay green. So Sizemore now, the 08 truck, he's worked himself up here to the top 3, as has Michael Barksdale. So a lot of different names, a lot of different comers and goers tonight. Hey, well, we got one sideways. We might get that yellow flag. Nope, Sizemore is going to gather it there underneath the apron, and we nearly had a big one there. It looks like a lot of these trucks checking up in the tri-oval. But lucky there that we did not have another yellow flag, as Sizemore again underneath the apron. He's finally going to file into the back of the pack as Barksdale, now your leader here in the 00.
Hey, I was curious going into this race, on the first few laps rather, and also in the heat race. Guys were having a lot of trouble controlling their trucks. Went to look at the track temp, and sure enough, it is red hot, 137 degree track temp tonight. So no wonder it's taking guys a little bit more to make the save. Impressive for Sizemore to make not only the first save, but then the second one. He hit, there's a pesky bump right there at the end of the tri-oval that kind of shoots you the other way, or takes the wheel out of your hands just a little bit, makes the truck light. Sizemore was able to make not one, but 2 saves there and keep his race alive. So impressive there for Sizemore to keep it going. Notably, Mark Von Dell, the 59, he went a lap down. He has picked up the draft. I'm not sure the same can be said for Matt Mettler, and it can. Mettler's actually picked up 5th on the outside. He has also lost a lap, the only 2 that are 1 lap down at this point in the race. Notably, Dylan Jones and Daniel Everhart have a little bit of drafting help. They're going to get a little more here when Sizemore drops back to he's lost the draft. When they get to a 4-car breakaway, or a 4-car pack rather, with Sizemore, they might just have enough momentum. With these guys too wide and saving some gas up front, not really pushing on that hard, they might be able to race their way back into this one. We'll have to wait and see. But those 3 really haven't dropped off as much as I initially thought. They might pick up Steve Sizemore before we get to the pit stops to be able to get themselves right back into contention. As the guys up front, oh man, contact up front. Waring and Spain get into the side of each other. The guys out back of them. Spain wants a turn out front. How about Joey Allen up front for the first time tonight? Truck number 27, the blue and yellow Chevy Silverado. He's now the leader of the outside lane. First time tonight we've seen that truck in the mix here at the front of the field.
Yeah, like I said, comers and goers here tonight throughout the field, and the action has been intense. I do believe with this smaller field, that's going to lead to some really good racing here. The one thing we got to keep an eye on, though, is the longer this goes green, the guys like Malik Ray and Daniel Falkingham, some of these guys that can, you know, really get on and off pit lane, they might hold the advantage going forward, as some of those guys seem to be a lot quicker. So whoever can keep up with them on these green flag stops is going to be in a really good position here tonight, because you'd expect them to eventually get some sort of breakaway, but it might come to an end here. We had one truck, just one truck off, and I believe that's Barksdale. I'm not quite sure. We'll go back here and take a look at it. Yep, Michael Barksdale. The 00 is going to hit the inside wall here as he is off the track. We're going to go back to that replay and keep an eye here on Michael Barksdale, who was just up front, and unfortunately, he's going to get a bump there from the 14 and go for a ride. He's going to try to keep it off the fence. He's going to hit the rear end just into it, but not too much damage for Michael. But unfortunately, now he's way off the pace. And just like that, more trucks, just like I said, getting out of this main pack. And sooner than later, we get to those green flag stops. It's really going to spread out here.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of more of those mistakes. I think the hot track temp factors into that. Barksdale gets a little bit of a bad bump, can't make the save there, slides to the inside wall. He'll now need a caution as well. Later on in the game, he joins a growing list of trucks that are going to need a caution. William H. Scott Jr. had to make an unscheduled pit stop, so add him to the list of drivers that will likely need a caution. To get back into this one, Barksdale is actually also going to bring his truck down a little bit. So at least 4, maybe more, that are going to need a yellow flag at some point in this race. Jones, Everhart, Sizemore, I think he could start to factor them into that list as well, which is going to leave us with only 15, or rather 14 trucks as is that are in contention. And you're going to start to see mistakes on pit road when these guys inevitably have to come down for service here in just a few laps time. You're going to see guys either speed on pit road, slide through their box, slide getting onto pit road, spin getting onto pit road. So we'll wait and see the mistakes on pit road as well. But as is, we've already shed the field down to 14 trucks in this lead draft. So we'll wait and see on the pit stop cycle how many guys are able to get off unscathed and themselves in a really good position heading forward. If they wanted to make it on one stop, everybody came down pit road, I believe, on lap 3. We went back green on lap 5. If they all wanted to make it on one stop, they'd have to make it to about lap 50 or so. So they'd have to go another 15 laps. I don't see that as a possibility. Perhaps guys trying to just make the pit stop shorter by saving a little bit of gas. And speaking of, here we go. Pit stops for the leaders. Spain, Hilton, Waring, Patton, and look at all the sliding getting on pit road.
Yeah, you called it, Dawson. These drivers with that high track temperature here tonight, these tires starting to wear just a little bit at Talladega. Something you're not used to seeing is we got, there we go, about 6 trucks coming down pit lane, a few more behind them. Here you see the number 63, Logan Helton, into his box. He's going to take left side Goodyear tires, also fill up with Sunoco Racing fuel. You see Matt Patton there getting some right side tires. So we'll see. There's a little bit of differences here. He's actually going to get lefts as well. So we'll see him maybe lose a little bit of time here. But there goes Logan Helton and the 38 of Gordon Spain. We go back up front. It's Malik Ray leading Daniel Falkingham. And now we'll keep an eye on these guys as they break for pit lane.
Oh, look out. Joey Allen. He was sliding a little bit. Josh McCullough is out of the back of him. Couple trucks getting together, getting on pit road. They don't all make it work. Miller's around. JR Miller's gone for a spin. He will be off the pace of this group as he works his way down to his pit box. I'm questionable about Nathan Harper as well. When he hit the line, he was going awfully quick. We'll see if he has to serve a speeding penalty here in his box. Being a full tank, you likely can take 4 tires here as well. Let's see how many guys go up on the jack for 4 tires and a full tank of fuel. Looks like everybody will oblige except one. Looks like Malik Ray goes for, looks like a 4-tire stop perhaps there on the 1. No penalty for Harper. Everybody else down and away except for JR Miller. This group a lot more connected. Really good stuff there. Again, some of the best in the business in this pack though. Ray, Falkingham, Miles, Guerrero, Harper, Butler, the ones to get off first from this second group.
Yeah, and this is what I was very interested to see here. We'll see how this all shapes out, but I was, going to go on a limb here and say we're going to definitely have some trucks well behind these leaders. And already we see Daniel Falkingham connecting with Malik Gray and Stephen Miles. Those three, obviously, the class of this field. Vicente Guerrero now up the fourth. Nathan Harper in fifth. So cream is rising to the top here with this pit stop. And we'll start to see some bigger gap times on here. These leaders already about a full second ahead of Gordon Spain, Logan Helton, and a couple of seconds ahead of the next pack, Gabe Butler, Joey Allen, and actually it looks like Josh McCullough now almost 5 seconds back. So this is what those drivers behind needed to fear here tonight. That these guys that are really good at getting on and off pit lane as fast as possible, might really break away from this race. And we're going to see now a lot of single file racing. And when you get that single file racing, Dawson, especially as the race goes on, you probably, it's going to be really hard to get a yellow flag thrown. So this race right now could be decided here before even the midpoint tonight.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have about 7 in this lead draft. Looks like Harper, Spain, and Helton are all going to hang on. They're trying anyway. He's out back of this lead group. Spain and Helton grab onto the back of Nathan Harper. He's bringing them to this lead group. So it looks like 7 are going to make up the lead group. And, you mentioned it. When you get down to the single-digit amount of trucks and considering who the trucks are in this pack, I mean, this is basically a who's who of who's done anything in money racing in the past year. You talk about Falkingham being the defending champ in the February race, also a PGR champion and one of the winningest drivers in series history. Malik Gray is the winningest driver in series history as of right now. Back-to-back defending crown jewel winner in the summer. So Stephen Miles, he won the recruitment race last night. He's been on a bit of a heater lately, has the 24 miles. He's been on some serious momentum. And so he's in this pack as well. Vicente Guerrero, he's been in these situations a million times in his long, drawn-out superspeedway career. Nathan Harper's a PGR winner multiple times. Gordon Spain, we talked about his improvement last year. And Logan Helton has been about everywhere there is to be in superspeedway racing. So when not only is this a small pack, but it's an experienced one, even less likely for these guys to make a mistake, make a move that causes an incident, causes a caution. So the caution may have to come from someone else, but when you look backwards, there's not really a ton of big packs anymore on the racetrack. The biggest pack besides this front run is, I want to say, 4 trucks. It's back around J.R. Miller, Dylan Jones, Daniel Eberhardt. That's actually only 3. They've lost Steve Sizemore, so no other really big packs anywhere on the racetrack right now. A bunch of small groups. The lead group is 7. That does not bode well for anyone 8th on back.
Yeah, Daniel Falkingham, your leader, and the number 88 Diet Mountain Dew Chevrolet. Malik Gray behind him. So 2 eNASCAR Coke Series professionals, who I believe will both be racing in the Coke Series once again coming up this season, are leading this race. Stephen Miles up to the 3rd position. Guerrero 4th, and rounding out your current top 5, Nathan Harper. But this is it. I mean, this is the 7 truck pack back to Logan Helton. That includes Gordon Spain as well. We'll show you the gap. That's going to be back to Gabe Butler here. Gabe Butler currently riding around with Joey Allen. And we'll get here and take a peek out from his cockpit view. And I'm telling you right now, you're not going to really see. They're going to be all the way at the or entering turn 3 at the moment. These guys aren't even halfway down the backstretch. So a 7 truck pack has broken away here. Josh McCullough still trying to, he's up in 10th. He's trying to latch on to Joey Allen and Gabe Butler here as he's got some help behind him. That's Matt Patton, who's currently in the 11th position. Larry McDonald, he's dropped back as well. He's riding around with Matt Metler, who's not even on the lead lap. Then you got to go back here to 13th, J.R. Miller, Dylan Jones, Daniel Eberhardt, a couple really good drivers in this threesome. They're back all at 13th, 14th, 15th. So, I mean, right now, I'll tell you what, as we get closer, we're almost there. So we're almost practically to that halfway point. And yeah, it looks like we're going to be riding around for a while here at Talladega, and a lot of guys looking for a yellow flag tonight.
The yellow flag they just may not get. Again, we talked about the pedigree of these 7 up front, and the fact that they don't even indicate they're going to do any racing before the end of this one, at least until the next pit stop cycle, which is kind of where this one gets a little bit interesting. That run about 35 laps, a little short of 35. Once we went back green, we're basically 35 in the fuel tank. So if we use that number, we'll get to about 73, which is when we'll make that next pit stop. Now, the interesting part, the window will open actually well before that. The window's going to open here about lap 60 to 62. The question now, if you're Butler, Allen, Josh McCullough, J.R. Miller, Larry McDonald, Matt Pack, if you're one of the guys outside this pack, do you try something different? Do you come down and pit early in the cycle, kind of shorten the leaders, try to perhaps all work it out where you can come out together, try to match the numbers of the leaders and make up a little bit of time? You know, does that change your favor? Or do you start to think about, you know, grouping up Gabe Butler and Joey Allen are going to fall in the clutches of Josh McCullough here, so perhaps is that going to help them? They're all going to kind of be somewhat together, at least 4 more trucks behind the leaders. That's going to help them just a little bit. If they could get Miller, Jones, and Everhart, that would be a huge help as well. McDonald, that'd be an 8-truck pack to this 7. But unfortunately, they're separated by about 8 seconds on the racetrack. So just not boding well without a caution, but you've got to start to think about doing something, whether that's short pit and, you know, maybe you're taking less fuel on the spot. Maybe you got to hope these guys make a mistake, or, you know, do you run it long and these guys up front perhaps think about short pitting and trying to come in right when the window opens? It'll be interesting to me to see what guys decide to do, and how close you're willing to cut in terms of making your pit stop as short as possible. That's what we always talk about in these races that come down to strategy. You want to be on pit road as little time as possible. Entry, in your box, and exit. So anything you can do to mitigate that, these guys are starting to think about in terms of the guys off the lead draft. The guys in the lead draft, it's pretty simple. You come down, you execute, you're going to be one of 7 that has a chance to win this race at the end of it. I think the other interesting part of it, though, in this lead pack as we ride around, is a lot of the dynamic in this pack. There are basically no teammates in this lead pack right now. Daniel Falkingham, certainly not teammates with Malik Ray. Ray and Miles have worked together in the past, so you look at those two maybe as being the only 2 that are on the same page, but Falkingham, Ray, Miles, Guerrero, Harper, Spain, Elton, really none of these guys are kind of on the same page in terms of being in any kind of communication with each other. They're all kind of on their own agenda, so I think that's really interesting also. Kind of a break from the usual tradition of these races where it comes down to, well, who's got the teammates at the end. There really aren't many teammates here up front in this pack, so I thought that was interesting to note as well. Guys have just not found a lot of teammates. We've known that, you know, Miles and Ray, Falkingham and Harper have kind of worked together at times, but is that the case tonight? I'm unsure at this point, and do you take your own agenda into account as well as Michael Barksdale catches on this lead draft?
Well, we are going to be approaching the halfway point here. No better time than to bring up the boss man himself, Jimmy Crow, up here in the booth with myself, Michael Triscaro, and Dawson Wise. You got a copy here tonight, Jimmy?
Yes, sir. I'm glad you guys are still awake.
Well, yeah. Well, let's put it this way. Lap number one, we're like, man, we hope Jimmy's still ready to race this race tonight, because those guys obviously brought out the caution flag early, but since then, Jimmy, all green flag racing tonight.
You know our brother John Ward would be loving this race right now. Yeah, it's a little more. I wish it was a little more exciting again. We had a lot of guys show up, a lot of guys out of town and stuff, but hopefully they'll pick it up closer to the end. I appreciate you guys calling this race for us.
Yeah, no problem. Jimmy, well, tell us a little bit more about this race. Obviously, your dad, the name of the race, Jimmy Crow Senior 250. Obviously, a note to him. And, yeah, tell us a little bit more about this event. I know you're looking to do a 500, but nonetheless out here supporting the man, the myth, the legend, Jimmy Crow Senior.
Oh, man, we had a good nightmare before Christmas, and I thinking, hey, maybe we could rekindle some of that magic. We just didn't have the numbers tonight. Yeah, the first 500, Crow Senior 500 we did, we had 60 drivers racing it at Daytona. Now we got one tonight, but that's years ago. But it is what it is. I'm a little disappointed on the turnout, but hey, they're doing the best they could, man.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's getting to a halfway point here. Right now, just past halfway point, I do believe. And Daniel Falkingham leads Malik Ray here. Stephen Miles. We got, looks like 7, looks like, yeah, 6 cars here in this lead pack. Back to Logan Helton here. Michael Barksdale not on the lead lap. We saw him go for a little spin earlier, and it looks like the payouts tonight, Jimmy, pay out the top 6, if that's correct. There's only 7 trucks right now vying for those top 6 payout positions, all kind of up here riding around. Not quite sure we'll even see another yellow flag tonight.
Yeah, it'll be top 5. We had a couple guys get in the race on time. So we had 2 guys.
Well, it's all good, man. Tell you what, we're here out here.
Hey, I'm ready for that. Hey, I'm ready for that PGR 500.
Yeah.
You got everybody and their mama doing 500. There's events everywhere.
Yeah, starting to get a little watered down. Hopefully, we get the turnout we're looking for.
Hey, you the man now, Mike.
Well, we'll try. We'll try to put on another good show. We had a good one last year, hoping for another good one this year. So.
Yeah, that PGR 500, that's my favorite thing. I enjoy watching the heat, pulling for drivers. That's what I love about it. I'm glad you don't do that buy-in crap to make the guys earn their way into the race. And I like that. I like it. Live or die in the heats just adds a little more. Oh no, it just makes the heat as a fan in my eyes. So yeah, I appreciate how y'all do that.
Well, we appreciate you and appreciate you having Dawson and I here tonight. Means a lot to us, Jimmy. We'll let you go back down to the race control booth, and hopefully we get some fireworks here late in the race.
Oh yeah, definitely. Hopefully they'll get racing. Like I said again, I apologize for the turnout tonight, and hope y'all can stay away. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you. The boss man himself, Jimmy Crow, as we are now lap 50 here of 94. They'll get to lap 51 right here as they cross the line. It's still Falkingham, Ray, and Miles. Your top 3, Dawson, and well, I guess we'll probably end up having one more green flag stop, and then from there it should be clear sailing to the very end for these drivers.
Yeah, again, likely targeting lap 70 or 73 number is when these leaders will be back on pit road for their final round of service. Anticipate maybe guys will skip the set of tires. I'm not sure. The track's awfully hot, so I'm not sure anybody will want to skip on a set of tires. But if you want to minimize your time, that is exactly what you'll do. Do want to comment real quick. Good to hear Jimmy in good spirits tonight. Jimmy, again, one of the veterans of the community, a guy I've known for a really long time at this point. So glad to be back around. Glad he's still putting these events on. Again, you heard him talking about a 500-miler potentially here. Wanted to make this race 500 miles. Obviously, 500 miles on a Tuesday, a little bit tough for some of us to pull off, during the week. But good to see him run 250 tonight. And again, I wanted to comment on this as well. I know the turnout was supposed to be a little bit larger tonight, perhaps, but look, the turnout does not always have to be huge for the race to be good. And we've seen that how many times in money racing over the past 6 to 8 months, where we've had a little bit smaller fields put on the better racing. Just to be quite frank, I want to say that some of the races have had 25 trucks or 25 cars, what have you, and put on some really good racing or really clean racing. That's what we've had tonight. One caution tonight. It was on lap 1. It was in the opening lap of the race and about the first 3/4 of a lap. We have not been under the caution since lap 5. We've been under green since then, and really no signs we're going to be under it until the end of this race. So, did want to comment on the turnout. Despite a lower car count, that does not always mean that the racing is going to be bad. And I'll tell you, look at the names in this front pack. There will be fireworks later. Don't let the small pack fool you. Look at the names up front. Malik Ray won't go quietly tonight. Stephen Miles talked about his momentum. Guerrero as well, multi-time race winner across multiple promotions. Nathan Harper, Logan Helton, Gordon Spain. You talk about the guys up here. Yeah, it may not be a lot of trucks. They're going to throw those trucks around later, throw some haymakers at each other again. All of these guys want to go to victory lane tonight. The idea of winning, especially for the guys that have done it before, they want to get back to victory lane, get their momentum going in the right direction. I talked about these few weeks being crucial to winning the big prize here at the beginning of February. Tonight is a stepping stone in that. A lot of guys in this lead pack want to get to victory lane. So despite the low truck count, despite the fact we only got 7 in the lead lap up front right here, 9 total, by the way. James Waring is on this pack as well as a lap down truck. So count him into the energy later in the night when we get down to it. If they're still with the pack, they will play a part as well. But these guys all want to win, and despite a lower truck count here at the front, considering who it is, we will see some fireworks. It's going to be a little bit before we see them, but they will happen. These guys do not want to go quietly. They don't want to ride in line. These are all guys that know how it feels to win. They all want to do it tonight. Nobody wants to come home fourth and ride. Everyone wants to check.
Yeah, without a doubt. And, you know, we'll get these guys racing here a little bit later. So we'll just have to see. Like I said, I don't think we'll, with these types of drivers up here, it's going to be hard for them to bring out a caution. We do have that extra green flag pit stop. Most of these guys, obviously, the ones up here did the best getting on and off pit lane before. We'll see if all 7 trucks could stay with one another here on the next round of them. But a lot for race control to keep an eye on right now at the big spread out field. And right now, Daniel Falkingham just kind of peeking out, giving some air to the front bumper there of Malik Ray. And all these cars single file here down the backstretch. They're going to eventually cut a couple trucks in lap traffic eventually, but should be pretty easy for these guys to maneuver right around them. And a lot to look forward to in this week coming up, a couple days time. The Thursday Night Intimidator Superspeedway Series will return for the second race of 2026. It'll be at Daytona, and it'll be a wheel spin. And that wheel spin, a little different format from the past. And we are going to announce the cars tomorrow that will be on the wheel spin. Drivers will then elect to pay a smaller entry fee prior to the session opening and to the wheel spin. And then drivers that want to wait to see what car it is will have to pay a larger entry fee. So trying to push drivers to race on Thursday night this week. And always trying to be innovative here at PGR, so it'll be a cool little wrinkle that we have yet to see. I did see the cars on that list today. I'm looking forward to possibly putting my name in the hat to race this Thursday night, so that'll be interesting. You got the Stars and Stripes out every single Friday night for Dega Pros. And then it looks like we'll have Sunday Fun Day coming up this Sunday, and as always, every Monday night, the PGR 500 recruitment races leading all the way up to this year's PGR 500. So that's what's on the horizon here in PGR eSports. You can also check our ticker down at the bottom of the screen. We'll try to bring to you all the up-to-date information here at PGR eSports, as well as some of the other money racing communities like HGR, High Gear Racing, MMS, McCullough Motorsports. You got Dega Pros as well, and hopefully we'll see Ron Morris for RMR eventually come back here in 2026. But here we are, Dawson. We are just taking them down here to the very end tonight, and also taking them closer to some green flag stops.
Got about 15 laps or so until I anticipate the leaders will come to pit road. The window actually is going to open here in the next 3 to 5 laps. I'm not anticipating the leaders will short pit again. Usually when I say that, they do the opposite of what I say they're going to do. We'll see. Keep an eye on here in the next couple laps, see if they decide to short pit or run it all the way to the end of the run and run the tanks dry and try to cut some fuel strategy at the end. And right as they started to click off laps, here we go. Some action here at the front of the field for the first time in a while. And it's Daniel Falkingham, and he is going all the way backwards. 5 trucks up and around him. Malik Ray leads the charge. He goes to the lead. He's going to bring Steven Miles with him. I'm sure what prompted that move from Malik Ray. Was it communication from Daniel Falkingham that he wants to go save some gas? Was it Malik Ray wanted to get out front, control this race? Maybe as we get closer to the pit stop, wanted to be the leader on pit road. Unsure. But regardless, now they're going to single it back out. Now it's Ray, Miles, and Guerrero, your top 3. So interesting here late in the race, later in the race rather, that now we're seeing a little bit of aggression. The guys are content to ride. Falkingham relegated to the 6th position, but now we get right back to where we were. Just over 35 laps to go. They're right back to single file on the WO line. 2 lap trucks coming up. Mark Mondell, this will be the 2nd lap. He drops to the leader on this time by. There'll be one more truck going a lap down. That's Steve Sizemore. He'll go his first lap down in the race here in just a moment. We'll see if they can catch it on the back of the lead draft and get with the leaders, or if they will be relegated to losing it again. Sizemore going to side draft just a little bit, trying to maintain the draft for the time being. I want to comment real quick on what's coming up. The wheel spin, such a cool idea. I heard about that the other day. That's going to be really, really cool. The kind of roulette wheel spin style where you can either gamble and hope it's a good car for you or wait until you can guarantee the car track combo and a little bit more money to get in the race. That's a really interesting concept. Going to be a lot of fun this Thursday. And of course, the couple of Friday night events that we got going on as well. Some Monday and then recruitment races. Only 2 more left. That fact kind of hit me while you were talking about it, Mike. Only 2 more Mondays left until we switch out the recruitment racing for heat race number 1 of the PGR 500 2 weeks from Monday next week, just under 3 weeks away. That kind of hit me by surprise as we were talking about it right there. Did want to point that out. We are very, very close to the deadline to putting this thing on and back on track for what should be another fun event.
Yeah, that's definitely the one that I look forward to now each and every year, as well as the SummerSlam 499. They're fun. They're a lot of work. We all know that, especially broadcast team, production team, and everyone that helps put these big races on. And I know it'll be a lot of work this year, and more than it was even last year for this year's PGR 500, with a couple extra days, practically entire week long. So gonna have to get our rest. Gonna have to be at our best ability that week. A lot of help, obviously, from a lot of different people, as far as producers and broadcasters, race controllers, and just a lot going on that entire week. But nonetheless, I'm looking forward to it because the racing is intense. I raced in it last year. I've also tried qualifying for the Podium 500, and tell you what, when you're in those races, you're strapped in, man. It's a different feeling than these regular weekly races, that is for sure. The intensity ramps up. Everybody's up on that wheel, and tempers do flare. It's everyone wants to try to make the big show, at least make the LCQs and the duels, and no one wants to bow out early. And this year it's going to be a little bit more intense as we spread the field out. If we do get up to 300 entries, you know, it's going to be a lot less positions to transfer compared to last year with the extra heat. So it's really going to be some white knuckle racing that I'm really looking forward to watching this year. Obviously, we got a couple drivers in this field that are super capable of taking their cars all the way to victory lane that weekend. We saw tonight's leader, Malik Ray, at the moment win the NASRA 500, I do believe. So these guys getting hot, like you said, at the right time. It's 500 season, and it all ends with the 2026 PGR 500 here in just a couple of weeks. And while we have a minute before these green flag stops, we'll take our quick race break here live in the PGR eSports Network and enjoy a commercial here from High Gear Racing. Back here live on the PGR eSports Network, and sorry on commercial there. These drivers, this lead pack has come to pit lane as Steven Miles leads the way off pit lane with Logan Helton and Malik Ray in tow. We'll see how this all plays out here in just a minute as the scoring tower will update with this last and final round of green flag stops tonight. Now just less than 30 laps left here in the Jimmy Crow Senior 250. I am Michael Triscaro. I've been joined by Dawson Wise here tonight. Only one yellow flag. It came on lap number 1 here tonight as you see Malik Ray get back behind his teammate of Steven Miles. Here comes Daniel Falkingham, and this will end up being your leaders. We do have a host of other trucks on pit lane at the moment. Daniel Eberhardt as well as Matt Patton, JR Miller, and a few more here that'll be coming off pit lane. So the last rounds here, I do believe, of green flag pit stops. As you see, the number 90, Daniel Eberhardt III, come off pit lane. This group's still hoping for that yellow flag tonight. And I would assume they're going to all try to race really hard. Last thing you want to see is an intentional yellow flag, but these drivers most likely out of this one here tonight unless we get that late yellow flag. And back to the lead. It's Steven Miles in the 24.
Yeah, the 7-truck lead group has been whittled down to just 4 now. It's Miles, Ray, Hilton, and Falkingham that are the 4 that have come out way ahead of everybody else. Harper and Spain also lost Guerrero in the shuffle on pit road. They have not been able to regain the draft, so it is very much likely that we are down to just 4 trucks in contention to win at Talladega with 27 laps still to go. We are down to 4 of the 22 that started tonight's race in contention for a win, again barring a late race yellow flag of some kind. So it's going to be interesting to see if there is one that comes out. You know, these 4 up front aren't hoping for that, but you know, the guys out back, obviously now Boone, Harper, and Spain and Guerrero that will need a caution in order to get back into this race. So really interesting to see the shuffle on pit road. I'm a little surprised. Nathan Harper got a pretty good exit on pit road and just was unable to maintain the draft of the trucks in front of him. Same can be said for Gordon Spain. Vicente Guerrero was actually a little bit slow on pit road compared to what we are normally used to seeing out of truck number 14. So a little bit surprised to see a couple guys a little bit slow to the punch off pit road, and it has cost them in a big way. They've lost the draft, and now a very interesting dynamic up front. You've got Steven Miles and Malik Ray, who have been teammates in the past, unsure if they're working together tonight, but guys that know each other well. And then you've got Logan Helton and Daniel Falkingham, guys that are not teammates by any stretch, but that may have to team up tonight, at least in some capacity, to get around the 1 and 24 up front. So very interesting dynamic up front. It's come down to 4 guys. There are 5 payout spots, so all 4 of these guys, should this race go green to the end and they finish up front, all 4 of these guys will capture some money tonight. Will it change the way that they're willing to race, knowing that there may not be as much to lose? Will they throw a little bit more on the line when the race comes down to it? And they also can wait longer as well. I would anticipate there's no move from Logan Helton until inside of 5 to go. He's got about 20 laps until he really has to go do anything trying to get around these trucks up front. What I've noticed as well is Malik Ray and Logan Helton both push really hard like this. Daniel Falkingham starts to lose the draft as well. We could be down to 3 before we know it if it keeps going, but now when Ray backs off, Falkingham's able to drive right back up the back of truck number 63. So should be 4, maybe 3, though, that really have a real chance of winning this thing.
Yeah, here you see up front. We'll go through the field here and kind of show you guys where we are at. Steven Miles, your leader. He leads Malik Ray, Logan Helton, and Daniel Falkingham. That's your top 4. They'd all be locked into payout positions. They're probably going to ride around all the way until the last lap. Malik Ray, obviously teammates here with Steven Miles, so you'd expect a drag race between Helton, Falkingham, and those 2. And right now, if you're Logan Helton, you know, you kind of take those chances if because Falkingham's really not going to be able to make it 3 wide because Miles and Ray, they're not going to come apart. So at this point, like I said, it might be a drag race between these trucks. So let's go back to fit, though. That's where the action's at the moment, as Nathan Harper leads Gordon Spain, Vicente Guerrero, not James Waring, but I believe James Waring is in this pack, but he is not amongst the leaders. Neither is Michael Barksdale. So you really only have 2 trucks right here in this pack. And we'll get a shot from the cockpit here and see how far back these drivers are, as it looks like in the scoring and timing they are a good about 4 some seconds back, 5 seconds some back right now. So they have a long way to go. You see right here, this is going to be Vicente Guerrero working on the back bumper of Gordon Spain. And here's Gordon Spain. He sees the leaders. There's Daniel Falkingham and company. And they're not too far out, but it's a lot farther than you think here when these drivers kind of running in a straight line at the moment. Now let's turn our attention to Josh McCullough. He's farther back. He's in 8th place at the moment. He's bringing the pack around. Dylan Jones, Daniel Eberhardt, J.R. Miller, and Gabe Butler, as well as Matt Patton. So those drivers 8th all the way back to 13th at the moment. And they still have a long way to go as well. I believe nearly 6 seconds almost back from your leaders at the moment. So these drivers, like I said, really waiting for that caution flag tonight. I do not believe you're going to be able to see Josh McCullough bring this group any closer to those leaders. You could see that middle pack, but even if they get to that middle pack, they'd still have to go chase after the leaders. So yeah, just going to be probably a little bit too late for these drivers tonight, unless we see some sort of hiccup by any of them running in these packs at the moment. But I can't see it. There is really no reason for any of them to race at the moment. You just got to kind of hang out and somehow hope something happens. But there's also no point for these 4 leaders either to race hard until the very last lap. So we shall see how this all plays out. But if you're just joining us, only one yellow flag here tonight came on lap number 1. And so far, green the rest of the way here at Talladega.
I think what's interesting that I noticed about that second group that's led by Gordon Spain and Vicente Guerrero, they actually did the swap just a little bit ago and moved Harper to the tail end of the lead lap trucks in that group and put Guerrero up into the lead pushing spot.
I don't want to. Oh, Barksdale's spinning. Yellow flag is out.
Wow. Well, there you go. Throw everything about that out the window. And these 4 leaders, that's a tough break for them. But it's the break that Josh McCullough, Dylan Jones, Daniel Eberhardt, everybody else needed. It's going to bring everyone back into this one. How about that?
Yeah, I didn't want to cut you off there. I saw it. I saw Michael Barksdale fishtailing there. Remember, he was part of that second group. A driver, I do not believe, was even on the lead lap. We're going to go back to this crash here. And the reason why the yellow flag was thrown was because he was on the racing surface and group number 3 was coming. So that group with Josh McCullough and company, they were coming right up on him. So let's get here in the chopper cam and find out what brings out caution number 2 tonight to totally flip this race upside down. And keep an eye here on Barksdale. Wow, he just spins all by himself. Here he comes in the tri-oval. And he just gets loose, goes into the grass. And he is trying to hold on to it. He's on the brakes here. But he comes back and spins it around on the racing surface. And here comes Josh McCullough. They just miss it. And we'll get a good view here from the cockpit of Josh McCullough to show you guys why this caution flag was thrown. And you see the smoke come up, and yeah, clear view mirror there of McCullough nearly coming all the way into Gordon Spain, or sorry, Michael Barksdale. Wow, I can't believe it. I mean, a single car self-spin here to throw the caution. If you're Stephen Miles and you're Malik Ray, Logan Helton, Daniel Falkingham, you have to be sick when you go and watch this back, because now 20 laps to go. You're going to bring just about most of all these drivers back into the fray. And you know, Dawson, we've seen it before. Cautions breed cautions. And now it's truly anyone's race.
Yeah, absolutely. It brings everybody back into this one and, you know, kind of evens the playing field again. And again, it's the break that a lot of guys have been waiting for a while. You talk about Jones and Eberhardt, as everybody's going to come down pit road here, which I think is a bit interesting. So that tells me perhaps we did need one more stop beyond that one, or Guys got it a little bit close on the pit stop trying to fill their tanks only as much as they would need. So everybody going to come down and get some service, perhaps some tires going on these trucks as well. With the hot track, obviously want to have some grip. Everybody going to come and take advantage. So I do think it's, it evens everybody out, but that's the break that, guys like Jones and Eberhard, Larry McDonald had been waiting on for a while. You talk about Josh McCullough as well. Matt Patton had dropped off the draft. But even Spain, Harper, and others have been waiting on that break for a while and had lost the draft a while ago. Now they're all back in it, and the playing field is once again even. We'll have what looks to be 16 on the lead lap when all is said and done. Looks like Matt Metler is going to get his lap back here and get back on the lead lap. So 16 trucks, you would go from 4 to 16 just like that. You're right. If I'm Miles or any of these guys, Miles, Falkingham, Ray, or Helton that were at the front, I mean, you want to talk about sick to your stomach because you have no idea where that caution came from. When you watch the replay, I think you're going to be even a little bit more sick to your stomach after this race if one of those 4 doesn't come away with the checkered flag.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it's just, man, we watched that back up here, and like I said, things can happen. It's just, you don't normally see a self-spin like that with the one truck incident. And a great job there by race control to get that caution flag out. I think they waited as long as they could, but they saw him essentially come back up into the racing surface and saw that third pack coming right into him. And a great job by getting the caution flag out. But, man, heartbreak, or not heartbreak yet, but just got to be disappointed there in the front if you're any of those drivers that were just running away with this one. And all of them really guaranteed a top 4 payout unless they were to wreck on the last lap here tonight. So Mark Person in the chat, he can't believe it, as I'm sure others here viewing tonight's race. And now we will have 18 to go here at the line. It'll be 17 to go when we go back to the green flag, and it'll be countdown going down all the way to the checkered flag here tonight, as this race, like we said, has flipped all the way upside down tonight. Niles leads it, I do believe, the 24 over J.R. Miller, is being scored in second at the moment. Looks like James Waring will get to go ahead in the wave round, the lucky dog here. And that's a good sign for him. Vicente Guerrero now backing this thing up into the 4th position. You got Gordon Spain there now as well, back up in the top 5, as is Matthew Patton. As a couple of those drivers did come down pit, and it's possible needed some more fuel, like you said. If there's any little bit of damage, maybe some window tear-offs, possibly some tires. As out here we come outside turn number 2. We'll be going green this time by. Pace truck lights are out, Dawson, and man, I just can't believe it still. I cannot believe we have seen that yellow flag. Hey, if it was going to come out, I did not envision it that way, but here we are. And now the stage is set truly for the last 17 laps of this race.
Well, this is a tough spot if you were one of those 4 that were up front. Really, if you're any of the guys in the field, obviously the second pack just was kind of chomping at the bit for another chance. So you now have an opportunity to make a move. You got to reset your brain. But the front 4, it all of a sudden goes from, okay, how am I going to make a move on the 2 guys in front of me, the 3 guys in front of me, the 1 guy in front of me, to all of a sudden you got 16 on the lead lap that could win this thing. And now you think about, all right, well, now there's 12 more trucks in the field. I'm going to have to manage runs. You're going to have to do a lot more. It's going to be pretty wide open from here to the end of the race. Everybody's good on fuel from here to the checkered flag. So from here on out, it becomes, well, now you got to constantly be thinking about it. It's no more, well, I'm waiting until 5 to go and then I'm making a move, or I'm waiting until 2 to go and I'm making a move. Now you're going to have to race it all the way out. It's going to be pretty much 17 laps of wide open racing. The heat race was crazy for pretty much all 9 laps. Imagine that this race will be just that as well. Miles and Miller on the front row. How about the pit calls here from Miller, Matt Patton, Gordon Spain to get up front with the leaders? The call from those guys. How big a win would this be for J.R. Miller if he could capture this one? Going to have to go through the 24. Stephen Miles, though. Green flag going to go back in the air. All of a sudden, 4 has become 16, 17 to go. It's wide open from here. Great start for Miles. Not so much for the line behind him. It's going to allow J.R. Miller likely to get up alongside the 24. Miles hangs up with Guerrero and Falkingham, the helpers. Ray is up there as well. Bottom side, Miller, Spain, Patton, everybody pushing on the truck in front of them. It's 4, 5, 6 trucks deep pushing on.
Yeah, the action is now picking up, and Jimmy Crow, probably a smile on his face. Ooh, we have one into the fence. They're going to try to get it together. I believe it's Joey Allen. He does. We stay green here now, 3 wide. We have all 3 lanes working here. Miles all the way to the top with Guerrero. They're going to come back down here to the middle lane. Malik Ray trying to bring up that middle lane right now. Slicing and dicing here through the tri-oval. Here goes Dylan Jones. He's back in it, as is Daniel Eberhardt. We stay 3 wide, and now the race is on. Here comes Josh McCullough in the 06 as Stephen Miles goes all the way up the racetrack to block his run. Down at the bottom, it's J.R. Miller in the 78 out of nowhere here. This race, a new life for so many of these drivers off turn number 2.
How about it for J.R. Miller? That's big for him. They kind of just cleared the way for him. I thought the bottom line was at a bit of a disadvantage, but instead it's going to be Miller that benefits for the moment. Not for long, though, as the outback, Miles going to get back to the outside. How about 4 wide? Dylan Jones with a bonsai up the outside. He grabs the right rear, Malik Ray. We're going to try 4 abreast here in turns 3 and 4. Jones and his usual dance partner. It's Daniel Eberhardt on his back bumper. 3rd lane trying to go to work with Ray, but nobody's going with him. Falkingham, 2nd lane. Now he's going to try to migrate up behind Malik Ray. We chop it down to 3 wide, but a moment of 4 wide as the aggression is on. But a new light for Jones and Eberhardt. They've been off the track for a long time tonight. They've got new life. As you mentioned, they're going to come clear here in turn 2. I would not be surprised to see Jones make the dive in the middle. He's going to push for now. And on the bottom, that's going to allow Miller, Spain, and Hilton another chance down there. Man, Malik Ray is a pinball back around the 10th position. He's going the wrong way, trying to get some dancing partners out back. There's the dive in the middle. It's Eberhardt that makes the first move. He'll bring Hilton, Falkingham, and Guerrero down with him. Vince has to go all the way to the bottom. Vince Guerrero's going to spin. Guerrero sideways. Can he save it? Yes, he can. What a save for Vicente Guerrero.
Guerrero now off the pace, back into the 16th position. And Vicente Guerrero now going to be looking for another yellow flag here tonight. Joey Allen now the caboose of this 15 truck pack here in the front. Matt Metler, Gordon, Spain back in action, as is Gabe Butler. And all these drivers, really, they've been riding around most of tonight's race. So a little bit rusty now. They've kind of all just been hanging out of their wheels, praying there was a caution flag. They get it, and now it's like starting from scratch all over again. We saw that caution on lap number 1. We saw the caution here late in this race. Will we get another one, or will these drivers take us all the way to the checkered flag as Daniel Eberhardt, a huge run to the bottom? Wow, Stephen Miles is going to block it. 3 wide. They're beating and banging. Eberhardt off the side. They're 4 wide. Here they go, wrecking the big one at Talladega. McCullough involved, as is Nathan Harper. There goes Stephen Miles through the grass, and a big wreck. Gordon Spain on the pit lane. And a caution flag is out, the 3rd caution flag of the race. And wow, as the race flipped upside down again.
Stephen Miles, are you kidding me? I have no idea how he gets away from this, even with just the minor damage that he got from the first hit. Somehow he's pointed at the campers on the infield and ends up straight, as do most of the guys in the front pack. Daniel Eberhardt kind of has to scramble through the grass. You saw Miller, Patton, and others have to scramble in this one. I think actually the truck that's going to get the worst end of this was Nathan Harper, and even he doesn't have what looks to be a ton of visual damage. We'll go back, obviously take some looks at this. And what it looked like to me, Daniel Eberhardt had made a bonsai move to the bottom of the racetrack to try to pick up the push of Falkingham. Their line got going on the entry to turn number 3, and Miles tried to drive down the hill. He wanted to block and get on the nose of Daniel Eberhardt and Daniel Falkingham on the bottom. In trying to do so, he flicked the wheel to the left. This is a very common move. A lot of guys do it. It's normal to try to block that in advance. But the track is so hot, and perhaps some tires had gotten old or warmed up on the back end of these trucks, that as he tries to make that move, it snaps out of his hands completely, and he has to save it. Then we end up with a bit of a staggered 4-wide situation off turn 4. 4 trucks, 3 lanes. That doesn't work. They all come together. Miles actually saves it, but Harper is the one that gets all the way around. Matt Patton actually hit the wall quite a bit as well in the 3 trucks. So curious to see the status of those two. I have no idea how we avoided a bigger incident than we got at the front of the field. That was a heck of a save by Stephen Miles, and a great job by everybody behind him to somehow avoid an even bigger crash at the front of the pack right there.
Yeah, a mistake you don't usually see here out of Stephen Miles. We're going to watch this again. And it looked like for a second there, if Stephen Miles would have actually stayed down. Here goes Eberhard. He's going to get up into Josh. And then you see the 88. That's Falkingham. He's actually going to split Miles. He sees an avenue. And if Miles didn't come back up and maybe just decides to give up the spots, there's a chance they don't wreck. But then Miles kind of turns himself on the front bumper of Falkingham there. You see Nathan Harper involved in this one, as is Matt Patton. They took some shots into the outside wall, as did the number 14 as well. So, wow, a interesting turn of events here. I'll tell you who's a happy guy, though, Dawson, to see that one. That's going to be Vicente Guerrero, as you see him out here on the racetrack. Remember, we saw him just make a save and lose that main pack. He was off pace. And he gets a quick caution, and that brings him right back up. I believe already back up in the top 10 with those other drivers on pit lane fixing their trucks.
A huge break for Guerrero, and that's kind of why I mentioned the track temp and the tires, because we had seen something very similar happen to Guerrero just a moment ago, where he got sideways kind of on his own and ended up on the apron and also had to make the save. So that's why I say I'm not really sure if it was as much a critical mistake by Stephen Miles as it was just he went to make the move and the tires did not respond the way he thought they would, and the truck slid out of shape, and maybe he had to save it. I think that's more of what we saw. I think the move was right to block that advance on the inside, but as he tried to make that really quick move, the truck snapped out of his hands. Again, the hot track temp, the tires have been wearing quite a bit as we've seen tonight, so I think that came into play for Miles right there. But Guerrero, that's another mulligan for him. He's already gotten one tonight. Now he gets a second one with 12 laps to go. He'll be right back in this thing as well. Miles came to pit road. He got a little bit of damage out of that, but mostly probably to replace those tires that he just completely burned up trying to make that save. He is rejoined in 13th. We talked about a couple others, Josh McCullough, Daniel Eberhard that may have been involved in that, Nathan Harper. They're all back around the back half of the top 10 or just outside of it. Matt Patton has spent extended time on pit road. He actually may go one lap down here or not. He gets out in 16th, still on the lead lap. So Patton able to stay on the lead lap in 16th. Looks like everybody got away without critical damage there, and that's really interesting considering, again, that started right at the front of the field. You expect that to take out a number of trucks. Instead, we got away with another one.
Yeah, we sure did. Got away with another one, that is for sure. Could have been a much bigger incident there, but we have one lap to go here until we go back green. And we're going to try to get a word with one driver here in tonight's field. It's number 88, Guinness Chevrolet. Gabe Butler, you got a copy?
Sure do, brother. What's going on?
Well, man, you tell us. It's been, well, it was eventful on lap 1, and then we got all those green flag laps, and thought this race might be in the books. We had a self-spinner, and now it brought you all back together here. Now a shot for your Area 51 machine to get the victory lane here tonight. But before you attempt to do that, I just wanted to get you up here and talk a little bit about Jimmy Crowe Sr. and what this race means to you.
This means a lot, man. Jimmy Crowe Sr. was a massive part of this community, really got this super speedway leagues going and hosted races and everything. He's an absolute legend. He did so much for the community and brought a lot of good guys into super speedway racing, and we'll be forever grateful for that. And big shout out to his family and especially Jimmy for putting this event on for all these guys.
Well, Gabe, we appreciate you joining us, and we're going to let you, though, get back to it here because important white knuckle racing here. 10 laps to go in the Jimmy Crowe Senior 250. Gabe Butler has a shot here tonight to get the victory lane. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Gabe Butler is going to try to do it for Jimmy Crowe Sr., but this race is far from over. If you're just joining us, 3 yellow flags here tonight. 1 on lap number 1 and 2 here late. But the stage is set. We have 10 laps to go. 3 attempts at a green-white checkered if we need it. To the restart zone again, it's Logan Helton, who's off to the races. There on the bottom of the racetrack, get pushed by Malik Ray in the number 1. Falkingham's going to lead that middle lane. We stay too wide. Malik Ray looks to go up. Logan Helton's going to come in for the block. J.R. Miller leads the bottom. And as we saw here on that last short run, 3 wide, even 4 wide, racing at times. The front drivers get mixed up there to bring out that yellow flag. Dawson, man, I'll tell you what, this is going to be one heck of a last 10 laps.
I'm a little bit surprised. Vicente Guerrero, Daniel Eberhard had a chance to join Butler and Miller on the inside there and really push that bottom line forward. Instead, they both bail to be 5th and 6th on the outside lane. A bit interesting there. Joey Allen's going to go down, try his hand. So is Josh McCullough. And all of a sudden, J.R. Miller's got some assistance in the rearview mirror. And that 7018 PGR Ford F-150. He's got the PGR 500 logo blazing through the Talladega sun on the front of that truck. He's now got Butler and Allen behind him. McCullough through the middle, and he's bringing back Stephen Miles to the party. The pink, white, and blue 24 through the center. Eberhardt's going to go top to bottom from out from behind Guerrero. Miller almost gets together with Josh McCullough. Eberhardt's going to block the middle now. He'll block Josh McCullough and try to block that advance. Eberhardt's everywhere right now. And that camo number 90 right in the center of the racetrack. He's trying to come forward. He's up to the left rear quarter panel. It wasn't the left rear quarter panel of his teammate Dylan Jones. For now, going to drop back just a little. They'll all go to the bottom. This is going to be a monster run when they get there. Look at this triple tandem on the bottom. Eberhardt, McCullough, and now they'll be joined down there by Falkingham. Big block by Helton. It was too big a block. They flew too close to the sun, but everybody keeps it going. Spain's the odd man out. And if I'm Falkingham, I take that one in the mental notebook. A second too late for Helton. He keeps the lead. Somehow everybody keeps it going. It's Helton at the line.
Helton at the line here in that top lane. It's Malik Ray, 1 in the middle, parachuting back. Malik Ray is going to bring his lane here to side draft. That's Dylan Jones, Vicente Guerrero behind Stephen Miles, though. He's going to look for that 3rd lane. He wants to get up there with his dance partner, Malik Ray. Bottom prevailing here down the backstretch. It's the 63. Logan Helton, he led early. He leads here late. 8 laps to go. Here goes the 6 of McCullough. He's going to push the 90 of Eberhard here into turn number 3. J.R. Miller tucked behind them here in the top 5 at the moment. Gabe Butler. He's in the middle lane. These front drivers, man, they can't pick a lane. From the bottom to the middle to the top they go. Now the top's prevailing here in the tri-oval. A single file parade of cars. J.R. Miller's going to peek out. He's going to lose that spot, and that might not be the best move that the 78 could make. He's going to go to the bottom. He's going to pick up Joey Allen. And right now, it is a bunch of trucks here on the high side at Talladega. We'll see if this bottom lane can make its way back. 7 to go here off turn number 2.
And Eberhard thought about it right there. He turned left as Miller got a bit of a run into the corner, sees that run going backwards and jumps right back in line before that gap could close. Miller still yet to go forward. Barksdale's in the outside wall about 15 trucks deep. Eberhard will dive down again. Still nobody going with him. He'll have to dump right back in line. Josh McCullough not willing to go yet. Out back, here comes the help. Miles to the middle. Harper to block. Malik Ray to block all of them. They're coming together. They're trying not to crash. That's back around J.R. Miller and company. Back around the 10th position. They all got through it unscathed. Oh man, now Gordon Spain, Joey Allen come together. Everybody keeps it together. And with 6 to go on the bottom side, it's the king of the summer last year, Malik Ray, pushed by Miles and Harper now on that inside lane. Will Eberhard drop down to block? Not yet. Gonna stay home on the top side. No opportunities now. As out back, Dylan Jones tries to go up around the long way on Gabe Butler. Up front, nobody can pick what lane they want to run. The leaders are in the middle, kind of hanging between 2 lines. It almost got the top line out of shape. Guerrero has to shoot the middle. He may go all the way to the bottom. Behind Harper, he will. 2 by 2, and they're racing like crazy up front. It's 5 to go when they get back.
Off turn number 4, Logan Helton leads it. Malik Ray underneath the apron. He's going to lose a bunch of spots here. Stephen Miles goes with Nathan Harper. Vicente Guerrero's going to fill that spot. Malik Ray has to dive in. Here comes James Waring up the middle out of nowhere. It's Waring from lap down all the way now to the top 10 spots. Logan Helton leads here on the high side. Daniel Falkingham second. Daniel Eberhardt in third, Josh McCullough fourth, Gabe Butler now up to the 5th position. We've seen these drivers using all feet of this racetrack from the very yellow line all the way to the wall, as this is just wild here at the end. If Jimmy Crow was sleeping earlier, he's up now, as all these drivers up on the wheel here. 5 to go, going to be 4 to go at the line. Malik Ray has to fight back. He's all the way back here behind Joey Allen. Mark Fondell, he's also coming up here. I believe he's actually going to be a lap down, not quite sure here. But wow, this is just a lot of action as Malik Ray's going to split Joey Allen. He's going to get his right rear. He gets the spot behind JR Miller.
If anybody was going to come back from that setback, it's Malik Ray. He's up to the 8th spot, I believe, on the outside lane right behind Miller. You see Falkingham trying to cool off. They had to kind of scramble to push a moment ago because Miles and Harper made it work on the inside with just 2 trucks. Now with trucks in the middle, Miles going to have to make a decision. He'll choose JR Miller and James Waring, who have come through the center and made that advance just a little bit further up for Miles' liking. He's going to take those guys all the way through the middle. Will they come down here on corner entry? They will. Miles lead the bottom. Waring trying to jump in front of Harper. All of a sudden, the bottom's got a ton of momentum. Coming forward, it's Miles. He's pushed by Miller and Waring on the inside. Outside still Helton, Falkingham, then Eberhardt. I think the wild card's Josh McCullough in the 6th. Where does he go in all this for now? Still 4th on the outside. 3 laps to go this time by Guerrero through the center. He wants to gain a few spots. Nobody going with him out back quite yet. Gordon Spain trying. Guerrero will dive back in behind Harper. Miles up to 2nd, battling with Falkingham. He might get even with Helton for the lead as they work onto the Alabama gang super stretch, as Stephen Miles' comeback is nearly complete. Helton's got to try to block 4 lanes worth of racetrack. As then they come back, it's 2 laps to go. Falkingham playing this really well, so is Eberhardt. The other guys behind him trying to scramble. How about Waring? He's through on the bottom now, trying to get back to 3rd as Guerrero tries to work the middle. He's up to Butler, and now Guerrero's got Malik Gray, and Butler's the odd man out.
Every man for themselves right now. Here we come into the trial. We're going to come into the 2 to go signal right here. Logan Helton still parading that top lane around. He's controlling the field at the moment, but he's got a rear view mirror full of Daniel Falkingham, who's been known to win these big races. Daniel Eberhardt up into the top 3. Miles pushing here with Vicente Guerrero. It's truly anybody's race here in the front. If we get back around and get that white flag, it'll be 1 lap to go. Down the back stretch we go. 2 by 2. No one in the middle at the moment. That bottom lane still trying to work back to the front. Miles still has some run to go. They're all going to kind of split. I think that's going to hurt the bottom lane here in turn number 3. Waring might go for a ride. He's fishtailing. He looks like he's going to save it. Logan Helton still going to lead, but here comes Miles back onto the bottom outside turn number 4.
When they get back, they're going to see the white flag as long as the caution flag stays furled up, and it will. White flag is up. 1 lap to go. But Guerrero to the middle as they hit the white flag. He's going to split Miles. Nobody goes with him. Now Miller does. Middle lane now has the advantage as Guerrero gets around Stephen Miles. 4 wide further back. Allen, Jones, Harper, and Butler. Still no move up front. Jones trying to crash. Out back with Butler. They all save it somehow, some way. When do the Daniel and Daniel show make their move? It's Falkingham, Eberhardt. Now the onus is on them. And as they come back to 3, Mike, they'll run all the way back to the checkers. When do they go for it? Here it is in 3.
Into 3, Logan Helton brings down Falkingham and Eberhardt. The 6 of Josh McCullough gets Malik Ray up into the fence. Gabe Butler now underneath them to 4th. It's going to be a 3-truck race. I'm not sure these trucks are going to get there. JR Miller wrecking out back, as is Vicente Guerrero. Logan Helton tries to block Falkingham. He's doing everything he can to do it. It's going to be Logan Helton at the line, holds off Daniel Falkingham, and wins the Jimmy Crow Sr. 250.
How about that defensive masterclass from Logan Helton, a guy who has been in that position before a number of times, especially in this Craftsman truck, and gets the job done. Again, another one of the long-time kind of, money racing, league racing figures like Gabe Butler. You see shows the respect there from Falkingham and Butler. Butler and Helton have known each other for a very long time. We talked about Butler being one of the sentimental favorites tonight. I think Logan Helton was in that group as well. They've been racing for a little bit extra than just the payout tonight. A defensive masterclass perfection there from Helton. Clean blocks all the way back, and he captures the checkered flag.
And Logan Helton here coming out of turn number 4. And he is going to be very happy here tonight to get the job done. Not just to win the race, but to win it here for Jimmy Crow Sr. You see Jimmy Crow up there in the top right corner of your screen. And we'll let Logan Helton here come to the start-finish line. And he will celebrate right here. Not only for the Talladega faithful, but for the Crow family. I'm sure Jimmy Crow very happy to see Helton here on top. He gets Butler in 4th tonight, so 2 drivers that Jimmy Crow talked about going into tonight's race take 1st and 4th. And 2 guys that mean a lot to Jimmy Crow Sr. And it's an awesome sight here on the front stretch as Logan Helton picks up the checkered flag, and he'll be heading here to victory lane. He's going to still celebrate here. And we'll get a word here momentarily with Daniel Eberhardt, your 3rd place finisher tonight. We'll also get a word with your runner-up. That's going to be Daniel Falkingham. And your race winner, Logan Helton, who is having a good time there out on the track. And what a great race. I mean, we get that late caution. Looked like the race was wrapped up for quite a while, and next thing you know, a caution flag is out and brings everyone back together here tonight. And man, Logan Helton gets the job done. And don't go anywhere, everyone. We'll be right back here, and we'll have your top 3 up here in the booth. Back here live at Talladega. Here you see your race winner tonight, Logan Helton in the number 63 Ford, the Nexus eSports machine to victory lane tonight, and an eventful race here near the end. And right now we're going to turn our attention to your 3rd place finisher here tonight, and that is going to be Daniel Eberhardt III in the 90. You have a copy.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, for a while there, Daniel, it looked like you, Dylan Jones, and a multitude of other drivers here in this field were out of contention, as 4 drivers were running away with the race, and a self-spin brings out the yellow flag here right as a Barksdale spins and goes up the racetrack as the 3rd pack was kind of getting closer and closer. So good caution flag, but that caution flag ends up helping you and getting you all the way up here to a podium finish tonight. Talk to us about this race and the frantic end to the finish here tonight.
Yeah, it was crazy. I lost the draft. I wrecked. I hit the apron by myself. This hot track temp really makes these trucks get upset, but me and Dylan figured out something at the end, and we're actually running the lead pack down. We were within 9 seconds before Barksdale actually spun out there. But it was very weird. His yellow to me was just a weird yellow because we had a guy that was sitting in the middle of the racetrack. I don't know what lap that was, and we should have had the yellow then, way before that. And I just don't understand why I racing through it. And he was almost below the yellow, but he was kind of teeter-totting on it. So I'm not sure, but it's kind of a wicked kind of race right there at the end. I just hate that, there was a bunch of wrecks at the end that just cost a couple people. There were some wicked blocks, and with this slick track, it was just everybody who threw a block was actually wrecking. Even you saw Malik throw a block there, and he daggum just he lost it on the nose of Miles. So just a crazy finish. It took actually a little bit of skill, and that's what made it fun.
Well, it was a fun night here watching you guys for 94 laps of action. as we get to see a really good finish there, actually, with that late caution flying. It looked like a snooze fest there at D3 here, and it looked like this thing was wrapped up, but we got some action-packed racing there near the end, and we see that D3 number 90 camo carrying a cool-looking truck paint scheme here tonight. Get all the way up there to the 3rd position. Good payday for you as well. Before we let you go tonight, celebrate that podium. Anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, thank you for coming on with the broadcast. Thank you for Gordon Spain to sponsor the broadcast. And anybody out there, don't forget, if you're watching right now, $3,000 guaranteed to the winner. 18 days left to register for the PGR 500. Hey, y'all get in there. Michael Triscaro is putting on a good one with Matt Baker. It's going to be a crazy event. It's, what is it, the 2nd annual PGR 500?
2nd annual, yep.
2nd annual. So y'all get signed up for it. I know there's a bunch of big guys that could be out there watching right now, and y'all get signed up for it and come join us. It's always going to be a fun crowd. Full week of action right before the actual Daytona 500. So thank you again, Triscaro.
Yeah, we appreciate you. Some kind words there from D3, who finishes in the 3rd position here tonight. We'll let him go celebrate that 3rd position. I'll now bring up your 2nd place finisher, Daniel Falkingham. I'll take him, and we'll let Dawson do tonight's race winner. Daniel Falkingham, the number 88. You got a copy?
Hey, I got you.
All right, man. Well, great race here tonight for you. Pretty much, we're up front all night long. But one thing we do want to ask you, you guys utilize those green flag stops to really break away from this field, and then you get a 4-car breakaway there. You, Logan Hilton, and Malik Ray, Steven Miles, and you get a wild caution with a single car spin, and that single car then eventually comes back up onto the racing surface as a pack is coming, and it's just crazy to see what went through your mind there, because it looked like you 4 were kind of locked into the top 4. Obviously, you finished 2nd here tonight, but at that point in time, obviously, you knew that everyone was going to come back together, and you have no idea then how races will end up from there. But walk us through what you felt when that caution flag came out.
Yeah, I was like, hated seeing the yellow right there, but I mean, it was gonna be interesting to see if that stayed green, because even with just us 4 up there, kind of being on our own, the 2nd pack was starting to reel us in a little bit. But then there was a huge pack that had Eberhard, Dylan Jones in it that was really running us down, like lap after lap after lap. Where I think if it would have stayed green, I think all of us could have ended up right back together in one big pack, because for whatever reason we just really couldn't pull away from anyone after we got outside like 4 seconds of that 2nd group, because they were starting to reel us in a little bit. So yeah, it was definitely a weird little dynamic that was going on in the race at that stage. But I mean, it didn't matter anyway, because we had the caution and we still had some good racing up front. It got wild there with everyone's throwing haymakers up front, and thankfully we were able to survive most of it, and we were able to come on with a decent finish. Wish we could have got the win up there, but because I want to try to win every single race I compete in. But unfortunately, we just didn't make the right moves that we needed to at the end. Logan put on a heck of a block there at the end that killed my killed my run. Was enough to get it done. So GG's to Logan, and shout out to Eberhard and Dylan Jones for getting top 5 there. Was a good run out there.
Well, we just saw that block Logan Helton through, and man, some good competition for you there, though, and like another springboard here. A couple weeks, 18 days or 20 days actually, I believe, until the green flag, the PGR 500. As far as the heats go, obviously the defending champion of that race, and obviously, can you carry momentum over from these other races? I know Dawson talked about that a little bit in the broadcast last year. You were hot at the time, and you kept being hot all the way through Speed Weeks, and ended up obviously winning the inaugural PGR 500. But what are you thinking about this year? Is it obviously you're locked into the feature, the only driver other than the flagship sponsor at the moment, locked into that feature race? I mean, so that's half the battle, is getting there, and you're already there. So what do you think your chances are of going back to back?
I think we have a good shot as anybody, but you know how these plate races what they can turn into, especially when you got people going for all the money that's going to be put on the line this year. But yeah, definitely glad we have half the battle we don't have to go through, because if you all saw the NASCAR 500, all those qualify races, the dual races, it was pure hell getting through all them races that thankfully we got in because of a provisional. So that's something I'm very thankful for, that I don't have to battle through all them heats and duels, because they did not go in my favor in NASCAR, so I fully expect it to go the same way for so many people trying to lock into these races with how this current next-gen package is. So no, just feel thankful to already be in the feature and looking forward to going after that big money and to try to go back to back and get another one of them trophies. But yeah, just go out, keep doing what I'm doing, just run up front, trying to win, trying to get the best results possible, and I'm sure you'll see me at the end because we were there right at the end of the NASCAR 500 by doing everything that we needed to do. So as long as I just know what to do and keep doing it at these late stages of these races, then I don't see why we can't contend.
Well, you heard it there. Daniel Falkingham going to try to attempt the back-to-back PGR 500. Before we let you go and celebrate that P2 runner-up finish here tonight, Daniel, anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, to shout out Jimmy and Waring for putting this race on, for letting me come out and race. It's always a good time to come out and race with these guys. Shout out to everyone who raced tonight as well. Shout out to you and Dawson for broadcasting. Shout out to Logan on the win, and shout out to Eberhard and Dylan Jones as well, we all got to work together that entire race. Well, it was just me and Logan for a lot of it because Dylan and Eberhard lost the pack, but they were able to come back and be in the fight there at the end. So yeah, shout out to all them boys, and yeah, thanks y'all for watching.
All right, well, you heard it there from the runner-up here tonight, Daniel Falkingham. In a couple weeks' time, will defend or try to defend his PGR 500 crown. And now we'll bring up tonight's race winner. It's the 63 Logan Helton, the Nexus eSports team.
Hey, Logan, it's the boys in the booth. You got a copy?
I gotcha.
It's been a bit since I've gotten a chance to talk to you. You come home with the victory tonight in the Jimmy Crow Senior 250. Look, on the last lap, we've seen you kind of pull some of these master classes, over time in super speedway racing in terms of defense. And tonight it comes down to it again. Take me through what it takes to be the leader coming off turn 4 and still be the man to win the race. Is it more experience? Is it more instinct? Is it a little bit of both? Just kind of take us through, your mindset coming off turn 4. You're the leader. Kind of what goes through your head in that situation.
Well, I knew I was safe in turn 4 because, both Daniel Squared was behind me, and we were working together there. So I knew I was safe at least out of 4. And then we get to that straightaway, and it's that first little twitch I see in the mirror. I got to go high because the right rear is you get side drafted so hard. And if he gets underneath me, so be it. I got a chance if he's underneath me, but if he gets to my outside, it's pretty much game over. So you got to go up high, and then you got to watch for that cut down if you successfully block up high. And he kind of faked it, so I kind of went low a little bit, but then went right back up, and then he committed to it again. And then I blocked that one again, and it's a lot of just knowing what the guy in second place is looking for, and I think that comes with experience. But I'm young enough that I don't want to claim to be experienced in anything. But yeah, it's just racing with those guys a lot and kind of just understand what they're looking for and knowing what you got to do to try and prevent them from getting to a quarter panel.
Look, talk a little bit about what it means to win this race. Obviously, the Jimmy Crow Senior 250. Talk a little bit about, that part of it and being the man to come home with the victory. Obviously, a long time, racer in the super speedway scene in terms of, being here over the last several years. Talk about the meaning of this win beyond just capturing the checkered flag and some prize money.
Yeah, winning this one means a lot more than some of the other Jimmy Crow races I've won. I've won, I won the Thanksgiving, the Gobble Gobble, and I think I've won a Christmas one or something, and a couple others, I'm sure. But winning this one means a lot. I don't think I've won this one before. Um, whenever I started iRacing, I was just running whatever I wanted, and then I joined a hosted one day, hosted by Jimmy Crow Senior, and I think it was like a recruitment race, something for a big Michigan race they're doing coming up, and I guess I impressed him enough and ran clean enough that he invited me to do that Michigan race, and ended up doing good in that as well. And that's how I started up in Crow's Nest. So I'd like to say if it wasn't for Jimmy Crow and Jimmy Crow Senior and that whole Crow family and everyone that races with him, if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't be as big in the super speedways as I am today. So I got to give a lot of thanks to them. And to win the Jimmy Crow Senior 250, it does mean a lot. So I'm really excited to win this one. And yeah, I'm hoping I can just keep on racing them every year whenever Jimmy Crow decides to do them.
Well, got to ask really quickly here, before we get ready to let you go. In a couple weeks, a big 500-mile event. Do you tend to delve into the 500s at all? Can we expect to see you for the second annual PGR 500 here in a couple weeks?
Well, I'll be happy to say that I've already put my entry fee in. I've already signed up for it, so not sure how the whole process goes, but I'll be trying to get there for it, and yeah, I'll be trying to make it, and I'll be doing a lot of Daytona coming up here soon. Uh, Always big in Daytona week, so y'all can expect to see me around for a few super speedway races whenever that week comes.
Looking forward to seeing one of the OG names in the super speedway scene put his name in the hat for that race. Before we let you go, we do want to give you an opportunity. Is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out as you're in victory lane here tonight?
Well, first of all, thanks to you guys for broadcasting it over here at PGR. It's a lot of fun to go back and watch it, and I know my family and friends appreciate it as well. So thanks to them as well for watching. Thanks to Jimmy for putting on the race. Thanks to Jimmy Crow Senior. You heard my story earlier. Thanks for all that. That's
Hey,
happened in the
hey,
past. And thanks to Numbers by Joe for sponsoring me. He makes awesome wooden signs for whatever you want. Next to eSports, Splash and Go Graphics for making the paint scheme, and of course Daniel and Dylan, all those guys for letting me run with them. And I think Jimmy had something to say.
hey, Logan. I want to thank you, man, for being an outstanding young man. Um, you're a hell of a driver. You're one of the greatest racers to come out of the crow's nest. You was a youngster in my dad's league, and them old guys didn't like getting whipped. They were trying to get him to get rid of you, and he never got rid of you. He always kept you in there and racing, and then I started working with you on super speedways, given the knowledge that LG, Gabe Butler, Rick Seabrand, Jason Beach, just all the everything I got from the legends, I passed on to you, practicing with you, and hell, you have more talent in your little pinky than I do in my whole body, and I just appreciate your family and you race, and I know they say OP with your name a lot, but I know Dave Overstreet got you from the crow's nest and brought you over there, buddy. And another thing too, them Jimmy Crow drivers, they do pretty damn good in that PGR 500. So I'll see you in that 500, brother. Appreciate
Yes, sir.
you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Logan, thanks for talking to us. Congrats on the win tonight.
Thank you.
Logan Helton goes to victory lane here for the Jimmy Crow Senior 250. You see the results there on the board as Logan Helton sits atop. Daniel Falkingham, a runner-up here tonight, and you know how badly he wants to win every single race, but nonetheless, a lot of momentum heading into the PGR 500. Daniel Eberhardt, a big comeback for him as well, as he was off pace for most of the night as he finishes on the podium as well. Gabe Butler, we talked to him near the end, and no announcer's curse. He's able to keep himself up front. The number 88 comes in the fourth position here tonight. Dylan Jones out of nowhere to finish is in fifth. Malik Ray in sixth tonight. Stephen Miles seventh. Nathan Harper finishes in eighth. Gordon Spain in ninth. And rounding out your top 10, Joey Allen.
Josh McCullough comes home 11th tonight. Matt Metler back in the 12th spot with James Waring in 13th. Matt Patton in 14th. Vicente Guerrero, tough break for him on the last lap. He finishes 15th tonight. J.R. Miller in the 16th spot. Michael Barksdale finishes 17th with Mark Vondell in 18th. Larry McDonald finishes 19th. Steve Sizemore in 20th. Final truck to take a lap tonight was William H. Scott Jr. in 21st. We mentioned Joey Masowicz and his connection issues. He finishes 22nd tonight on the scoring sheet. Did not run a lap in tonight's event.
Yeah, so you see it there, 14 trucks on the lead lap here at the end. And what a race and frantic race it was here at the end, all the way to the checkered flag. We'll watch it one more time here live as Logan Helton holds off Daniel Falkingham. I'll watch that replay again. And, man, I'll tell you what, Dawson, he put on some really good blocks. And that's not easy to do on one of the best in the business in Daniel Falkingham. But watch Logan Helton here as he just textbook blocked the 88 up the track. Comes back down, or actually comes down, has to go back and block again. Fish tells it, there goes Falkingham to his outside, but it's a little bit too late as Logan Helton, your winner here tonight. As you see Daniel Falkingham there. Congratulate the 63 So a class act there is Daniel Falkingham. Gabe Butler as well gives him a nudge here. And that was your finish here tonight. And another good one. We want to thank Jimmy Crow for having us come over here and doing this race, and James Waring and everyone over here at High Gear Racing. And these guys put on a lot of awesome races throughout the week, and you know, they cater to the up and comers and the guys that mean a lot to the community. It means a lot to us, the races that they put on. And man, I hope they keep doing these things. They're fun to watch. It was a good night here tonight.
Yeah, thank you, Mike, and I appreciate all you're doing for the community, man. You're a legend too now, brother. You've been doing awesome. That PGR 500 is gonna be amazing. One more thing before we go, I want to thank James for all he does. And you know, I heard guys, you know, say my dad was a legend and all that. He always gave credit for his popularity to the guys that raced with us. If me and my dad have received any accolades on iRacing known, it's because of the drivers that would race in the Crow's Nest rooms in a race. They're the ones that made us. Some might call me a legend, but I don't want to call myself one. But you know, they made us well known all over the iRacing community. It was because of the drivers and the guys racing with us.
Well, Jimmy, it's always a pleasure here to work with you guys, and hopefully we can continue that partnership here into the future. As you watch the 63 one more time, just minutes ago, celebrating his big victory here tonight, and one that meant a lot to him here in the Jimmy Crow Senior 250. For myself, Michael Triscaro, here at PGR eSports, and my co-broadcaster here tonight, Dawson Wise. We'll see you all soon, and Thursday night for the Intimidator Super Speedway Series. Have a good night.
Engines breathing in the dark, pressure rising with the spark. One wrong move and you fall apart. So brace yourself, don't blink. As we one shot, one chance to take it